Hello and welcome back to We Are TPM with John Teixeira, myself Kyle Teixeira. This week we are back to talk about our 9-part series of the 9 concerns when thinking of renting your home. And this week we're going to be going over the question of, I need my equity.
I love it. This one we get this one a lot, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
So this whole series is thinking about, when you bring up the subject of, hey, why don't you rent your home instead of selling it, right? Mm-hmm. These are the concerns that people have when the immediate objections that they have to why they can't rent their home as opposed to selling it. So I need the equity. It's a pretty good one, isn't it?
Yeah, because the assumption there is you're moving, right?
Yeah, right.
And that's why you think you need your equty, or that's why it's a concern. So what is equity? The equity is the difference between what you can sell your home for and what it's worth.
Yep.
What you owe on it and what you could sell it for. So, like say you only owe $100,000 and you could sell it for $200,000. That $100,000 of equity is what you're trying to get out of the home, and probably go use a portion of it for your next down payment, and pocket the rest, or depending on how much equity you have. So
yeah, so there's different ways to look at that question, right? So one is, sometimes when people ask that question, it's because they think that they need more of a down payment than they actually do, right? Mm-hmm. So most people that haven't done the research assume, especially if it's their second mortgage and they've already done a VA or FHA, that they can't do another one, which is not true. And we've talked about this in past podcasts and more extensively, but in a nutshell, you can get a second VA or a second FHA loan, which are both very low down payment. And you can also get low down payment conventional loans.
Yeah, because what you're not thinking about is, that's the buying your new home side of it, right? So then you also have, if you were to sell your home and try to get that equity, you're going to have a lot of that equity eaten up by closing costs, commissions, and a lot of other things, where you could essentially, if that was something you needed to do, there's a product called a cash out refi that will allow you to cash out some of your equity up to 80% value into your pocket and just refinance that home into a new mortgage. And now, instead of paying commissions and being done with that, investment asset, you're going to go rent it out and make money off of it, and you still have the money. So you got a long-term investment, and you have the money to go buy your new home with that portion of the equity.
Yeah, good point. And that kind of brings me to our third point, which was how cheap money is right now, right?
It's very cheap.
If you got to do that, if you've got to do that cash out refinance, or you're struggling with how much of my current equity do I roll into my new home, I contend that money is better spent, as long as you're smart with it, right? As long as you're not wasting it and doing something stupid with it. But it's better spent on a different investment, like another property or any kind of investment, than it is in your mortgage. I know Dave Ramsey listeners right now are probably completely disagreeing with me. And there is something that Dave likes to talk about called the security muscle, so if you've got to flex that muscle and that's important to you, then by all means, go do that. But we're just talking about from a financial perspective right now. Mm-hmm. The money is so cheap, you're better off putting as little down as you can and taking that money that you would have put into it and put it in another investment.
Yep. I mean, especially when you have rates this low, you probably never see them again. So that'll change over time. If rates, on the flip side of that, if rates were really high, we'd be having a different conversation. So, if that happens, we'll have that conversation again. So.
Yeah. So let's wrap this up, Kyle. So 1, down payments aren't always as high as people think they are.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
2, you can do a cash out refinance to pull that equity out of your home. Right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and slow it down a little bit. They said they're not usually as cheap as or the down payments, say they're 3.5%, like an FHA would be. Well, on the flip side of selling your home, what if the real estate commissions are 6%? So you're losing 6%. Now you're putting 3.5% down. That ties into the cash out refi I was explaining, is you wouldn't pay those commissions, and then you only put 3.5% down. So you're saving yourself the loss of commissions and a lot of closing costs is where I was getting at with there.
Yeah, you're not selling the home. Yeah, so you're absolutely, you're not spending the closing costs that it takes to sell a home
Mm-hmm.
are not coming out of your pocket because you're keeping the home. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have closing costs on the purchase of your new home, right? Whatever those closing costs are, and but you're going to have that anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And you get 2 investments now.
Yep.
So value's going up.
2 trees of wealth.
Yep. Making money off one. Hope you pay the mortgage on the other, maybe. Never know.
So, if in your example, what would you do, Kyle, just for fun? Let's finish this up with a fun little scenario. Let's use your example. I've got $200,000 home that I could sell for $200,000, and I've got $100,000 left on my note. Okay, and you're in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Arlington, thinking about moving across town into a bigger home. You've got a new baby coming. You'd like 4 bedrooms. You're thinking about Azel and some land.
Minus the baby and the Azel thing, I did this. That is an exact scenario of what I did in April. Yes.
All right.
So, if I was in my shoes in April, I would have done what I did and refinanced the home I live in, and cash out a little bit of money for a down payment on the new house, the 4-bedroom I bought across town in Arlington. And now I have 2, and I rented out the old one. So
refinance the current home.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you've got some money sitting in your bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to season that money, you think? That's a lending term, so sorry about that. But that means it's sitting in your account for a certain period of time. Sometimes lenders want to see funds that are seasoned, especially if they came from something like a cash out refinance. So good idea to do that. Or at least ask your lender whether it needs to be seasoned and all that good stuff. But those are things to forethink, right? That you're planning this move. So we're seasoning the funds. We're not seasoning the funds. Regardless, that's all part of the plan. Something you should be thinking about. Now we purchase a home. We use those funds to purchase our new home. And as soon as we move out, we have it ready and we start renting it immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and renovate it a little bit maybe, and then rent it out. So
should they call John and Kyle to rent it out for them?
Yeah, that's usually the step of both ends, right? Buy a new house and rent it out.
When should they call us?
Whenever you think about doing either thing.
That's right. Exactly. As soon as you're thinking about doing any of this, because we've got great lenders that can help you with this. We've got all the tools that you need to accomplish every step of what we've talked about through this process.
Yeah, because you want proper guidance, right? And kind of what we just described with a cash out refi might be similar to a lot of people with a contingency. Because with a contingency, you collateralize the home you're selling to buy your new one. That has all the same problems has all the same factors that I described earlier, but the end result leaves you with both assets instead of one. So.
Okay, so let's do some quick math. I was looking a little bit more specific. So we got $100,000 in equity. How much can we pull out of that? We can pull out 75%, right? Is that 80? So 80%. So we're looking at $160,000 we can lend, right? So we can pull out $60,000 in equity.
Correct.
My new house is $200,000. So how much would you put down then on this new house? If I only put 5% down on a conventional mortgage, that'd be $10,000.
I would put down exactly what you said, as a minimum possible with money as cheap as it is. With interest rates as cheap as they are, as little as possible. And I did a 15-year. That's a whole nother step that you can go.
That's really smart too.
Yeah, it changes your cash flow on rent, but that's a short-term investment for cash flow. We're talking long-term investments. So doing it in a 15-year, gets a mortgage paid off in 15 years, and then that $100,000. Since you're keeping the home, that $100,000 will be gone in 15 years. That house will probably be worth $500,000 in 15 years with how our economy's going. But that's the difference.
Huh. I bet you're exploding some people's brains right now. So, okay, so I've got $60,000. I'm going to take $10,000, put it toward my down payment. There's probably going to be another $6,000 to $8,000. Let's just call it 10 to be conservative in closing costs. I'm going to spend basically $20,000 of that money on a $200,000 home, I'm probably not buying a $200,000 home though, or am I? Probably buying a $300,000 home.
Probably, yeah.
So it's probably more like 40,000. I have 20,000 left, right? Did I do that math right? I think I did that math right. I probably have $20,000 left. What should I do with that money?
Renovate your rental to make it get top of market rent, and then
Love it.
I'm not going to tell you what to do with the rest of it because I would go invest it in either another property or in the
That's what I
market
was getting
somewhere
at.
or
That's what I was
somewhere.
getting
Yeah,
at. I love it.
I'll
All
put
right.
it in a REIT.
Hopefully we've we've either completely confused people right now, Kyle, or we've given people some great ideas on what they can do with their equity.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, when the concern and question of I need my equity comes up, there is more than one answer to that.
So we want you to think of the fact that the money is cheap right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind. Down payments are much lower than you think they are, and it's a lot easier to pull that equity out of your home than having to sell it, right? You can pull it out by doing a cash out refinance, home equity line of credit. We haven't talked about that. That's another way to do it. A little bit harder to do for a purchase, but anyways, there's several different ways to pull that equity out.
There is, and there's several different ways to make it valuable to you. Because equity can be used in multiple ways, but when you sell it, that equity is finalized. You're taking it out,
Realized.
and it's realized, and now it's just money in your pocket.
Yep.
Where it could be partially realized with an active investment still going. Because once you move out and rent that house out, it's making money. The house you're moving into is probably increasing in value, but I doubt people would say as they're paying their mortgage every month that they're making monthly money on it.
So using our tree analogy,
yeah,
it's another sapling off of the tree, isn't it?
Yeah, but if you're having the concern of I need my equity on the house you live in, it's probably your first seed. So you're just probably planting the tree. So either way, it's a good win.
All right, that's it. What else? What else do we need to share, Kyle?
The only other thing we need to share is hope everybody have a happy new year, and 2022 is gonna be badass.
Love it. Do we have a email address we want to give them?
No, I think you should just give us a call at 817-818-9039, or I guess you could shoot us an email at showmethemoney@wearetpm, and we will tell you how much money you can make off your portfolio, potential rental, old house, equity, any of it.
Love it. So that's show me the money, MONEY, not MONAE, right?
Yeah.
I was just making fun of the way you said it. That's all. I love it. Show me the money.
I'm not an artist. No, we're not Monet. I don't know.
All right. Thanks for listening, y'all, and hopefully you got something out of this.
Yep. Happy New Year.
All right. We are TPM out.